What is the AI build you have that you're most proud of right now? Well, you've been using it now for a few months.
Yeah, what I found interesting is, when you first start with AI, you're just kind of messing around with it, and
Yeah.
it'll blow your mind in certain ways. You're like, oh wow, this is making my emails easier. This is making writing copy a little bit easier, things like that. But
A lot of people stop there, right?
Yes.
They're like, yeah, my email, and then I do calendar, it's like a booking for me. But it's not a glorified Google.
yeah, and that's how I think a lot of people start. I think that's a great way to put it. They think of it as a glorified search engine.
Yeah.
or something to help you organize, which it certainly is, but it unlocked a lot of other possibilities that have really changed the way that I use it in business, and it's really an extension of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my things is that a lot of people thought it's a tool, it's an equipment, you hear it on, but it's really an amplifier of what you do. If you do things right, it will amplify the good things, right? But if you do bad things, bad habits, you will go very fast in the wrong direction. Very, very fast. So I think these workshops are a great way to really stop, see where you're at, get an auditor yourself, and, go very slow before you go extremely fast with your AI usage. That's why they're so helpful.
Something that I really took from you is that it really is like a puppy when you first start, and you almost have to think of it that way. It's something that has to be trained, and you have to work with it to be able to understand you and the way you work, and how your life flows and what your work does.
Yeah.
And it's not something you can just kind of plug and play.
No.
It's a little dangerous if you do it that way. But if you're really guiding it towards what you want it to do and how you think and the work that you do, it becomes far more, not only customized to you, but a far more powerful tool specified to what it is you're specifically trying to do.
And especially starting from that pinpoint of being a puppy. If you got to think ChatGPT was a puppy and Claude and Perplexity, what kind of puppy is Claude for you? Kind of
Claude's like a German Shepherd.
German Shepherd.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas Chat's like a Labradoodle. It's kind of fun. It's bubbly. It's gonna, just wants to please you or whatever. Whereas a German Shepherd's like, if you don't train it appropriately, if you don't have clear boundaries with it, it can go off the rails.
Yeah.
But if you do, you have the most high performance dog you could, really
100%.
ask for.
I've done workshops for many, many years in different variations, from creative to brainstorm to, training sessions, etc. What I like about doing these workshops is making them customizable, very tailored to the person. People learn in very different ways. Like, I'm very visual and then I'm auditory. What about you? How do you learn?
Very
style?
kinesthetic.
Touching, doing.
Yeah, I need to do things, yes.
Yeah. The AI that we're experiencing right now, as people approach it, I feel that, and this is my uneducated version of it, that these companies are giving people cars like GoPro. You get a car, it's $20, 20 cars. And so it's very accessible for the high-end technology that it is, because they're trying to win the race of becoming the next household item. Nobody's teaching them properly how to run it. I don't even think that the people programming Claude know exactly how to run it specifically, because it's that open. And so there are courses online from the official Anthropic, from Google, all these things, but they're very basic and vanilla, and they're not customized. They're almost very academic, but not practical. Part of what we teach in our workshop is to have practicality. How does it work for you, Mr. Lawyer? How does it work for you, business owner? How does it work for you? So that's where the workshop comes in at our level 1 approach. Level 2 then comes in what are you building with it? And level 3 is now architecture. And then there's level 4, 5, 6, 7 too, but we'll get to those later.
You've been doing these workshops a while. You and I have both, been in the consulting world a long time. What is the most consistent pattern that you're seeing in these level 1 workshops?
The expectations that they expect it's a button that does things for me. I think that it's romanticized and oversold as this magical thing, which it kind of is, but it takes work. It's not a magical pill that I take and I lose weight immediately. You have to put the work. Have to put the effort. And it's software and hardware. Sometimes they come in and they're just using it on their phone. It's like, hold up, you know you can use it on all your devices. Oh, I didn't know that. Or that when they're using it on their computer, you're knowledgeable enough to be dangerous when your security and privacy that you're just willy-nilly doing stuff. That's a second pattern that I see. So those are the two immediate things that we fix.
One thing that I think really separates what we do from other AI tutorials is, and this is a good call thing, this is the basis of our entire business, is that we really try to humanize it. It's really understanding the human aspect of that, the individual who's using it, the team that's using it, the company that's using it. It's not really just plug and play with good call. It's, diagnose before we prescribe. And that's really a way of life for us, because sometimes you think that there's a certain problem in your business, but really that problem's different. And I think that with these workshops, we take that same approach. It's not cookie cutter, here's what you're going to learn. It's really taking the time to understand the individual or the business that's going to be using this and tailoring the workshop to exactly what their needs are, so that they can train their own puppy the way that they need to.
Exactly. And when we talk about humanizing as well, we got to take into consideration the biggest alarm for AI is data centers and their water usage, for example. So the more you explore, do things the way it shouldn't be, the more power you're consuming. So that takes a toll on the planet as well. The second one would be the choice of AI usage that you're using as far as a service like ChatGPT or Claude. Although if you look at the Claude was made by people who were in ChatGPT, but steered away from them because of the human concerns that they had. They were like privacy, data usage, et cetera, et cetera. So Claude is a bit more human oriented because their constitution, their guidelines are very human in terms of energy use, in terms of privacy usage, in terms of even the shadiness of it. One of the stories is that the military wanted to use Claude because it's more powerful, but they saw the Claude, what they wanted to use was like, yeah, you can't use this for that. So they step away from a multi-billion-dollar account, contract, just not to use it. What ChatGPT immediately said, yes, I'm here, I'm open, do whatever you want with me. Here you go, use all the million users, of users' data that we have on ChatGPT. But there's also levels of privacy within it on Cloud. If you're in Enterprise or in Pro or Max, Pro is protected, but once you're in the free version, you got to know that. Yes,
yeah.
you're
nothing's free.
Nothing's for free. Exactly. It's too good to be true. As far as good call, I think you and I come from a perspective of knowing the human being. We're fascinated, both you and I, by human behavior. Especially like in yours, I do admire the approach you have with leadership and the amount of patience it takes, to really sit down with the leader, with sitting down with the team members and analyzing the behavior. That's a constant drip approach.
So, our approach is really from a human spirit standpoint of like, humans are complex. We're emotional beings. We're not always rational, and AI doesn't really take those things into account, so you need advisory to have an outside perspective. We know what the practical problems are here, but what are the human problems? And that's usually what creates bottlenecks in organizations, is that we're not communicating with one another, or we're not understanding where the other person's perspective is coming from. AI is a great tool as far as helping you function better and helping you streamline your work, but you still have a business that's full of human beings. And you need to be able to work around those human beings. And you need to curtail Claude, for instance, to each one of those human beings that are working within your organization.
Take, for example, the wave of CEOs firing their team because they think AI can do the work for it. Technically, can it? Yes, but it's not wise. It's not wise at all. And what's happening, though, those people that got fired a year ago, they're being rehired.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's a trend.
it is that fantasy that AI can do all these things. But what happens is that you can have it build something in 15 minutes that some other human could do. That's right. But you'll spend 3 months fixing the bugs.
So I think what's important is that every organization has high performers and low performers. And yes, I think AI can replace some of the low performers. But the crucial people in any organization are the high performers. And what AI does exceptionally well is it makes them perform at an even higher level.
Right.
But it can't replace a high performer in a corporate world or a business. If I'm a sole proprietor, right? I'm a single individual attorney. I'm a real estate agent. I'm, a one-man or a one-person shop. What benefits would a workshop like ours give somebody like that?
Number one, the principle is automation of the things you don't like doing. If you don't like waking up and looking at your email to sip out the spam, all that stuff, that can do it for you. Which allows you to get more time to do the things that you like. Making deals, thinking about new products or how to increase the value of your service or product, that it can do for you, 100%. One of the case studies that I have is very simple, a painter, a commercial painter. Chris is not technology oriented at all, doesn't like it. I like to paint, I go in there. So what he does is Venetian plaster and commercial product. That each project could be between 5 to 10K, right? So when he got his deals, when he got a lead, the steps he had to take, he hated, which is I get the lead, I get the specs, then I gotta go home, put all my notes from my notepad into my computer, go into the software, get everything in there, do all the specs, and then wait, and then it comes back, and then I need to send an email, and then wait for them to reply if they accept it or not. So all those steps were compressed into 3 steps, right? Because now the moment he gets a lead, it gets recorded into his Claude system. Claude talks to the budgeting system that he has, and then the email gets sent out. Point. That's it. It was great for him. So now he's just more time, he gets more leads, and now he can do more work and start growing.
So he could focus after that on what he does best, as
Quality
opposed to all of the things that kind of drag him down and keep him unproductive, if you will.
Exactly, yeah. Or burned out, you do that in the morning and then he's already burned out.
When you start a business, whatever it is that you set out to do, so let's take Chris for instance, if you set out to be a painter, you now have to run your own business. So you have to be your own marketing, you have to be your own sales, you have to do your own estimates, you have to, get insurance, you've got to have a social media presence, you've got to do all these types of things. And that takes up a ton of your time and energy and takes it away from what you actually love to do, which is just painting.
Right.
So it seems like what's great about AI today for somebody in that position is that they shorten that curve and they shorten that energy that is taken from that so that now they can spend more time doing the thing that they love. There's no barrier between them and running a business and doing what it is that the big business functions as. We've both been here for 15 years. We're based in Bird Rock. We have our office in Bird Rock. What we like to start with is a 15-minute call to really understand what it is that you're trying to achieve with this workshop, what you want to get out of AI, so that when you do come in for the workshop, we're all prepared and we have an action plan for how to get you to an aha moment where it's becoming effective for you personally. Just give us a call or go to our website at mygoodcall.com.
We look forward to meeting you and working with you.